Good evening, Plainfield fans. So we're going to be going on in 1 minute and 50 seconds. So just hang tight, and we'll be coming at you with this great homecoming game between Plainfield and Greenwood. Minute 40 to go now, and now 1 minute and 30 seconds. You see now? Oh, okay. I didn't know her name. 80 seconds now. Minute 120, 115, 110, 105. 1 minute, 25 seconds. Sorry, 55 seconds. 50 seconds. 45 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and blast off. Hello and welcome to Red Pride Stadium on the campus of Plainfield High School. I'm Steve McAtee, and I'll be bringing you all the action as your third-ranked Plainfield Quakers challenge the Greenwood Woodmen in Week 5 of the Indiana high school football season. Well, last week your Quakers remained undefeated as they played their most complete game of the season and beat Perry Meridian Falcons by a score of 41-6 before a near-capacity crowd right here at Plainfield. After the Falcons punted on their first possession, senior superstar running back Luke Starnes scored his eighth touchdown of the season on a 1 yard rush for a 7-0 lead with 4:29 remaining in the first quarter. On Perry Meridian's next possession, a pass by junior Jackson Shock was intercepted by senior Sean Callahan. After taking over at 31, Plainfield went 3-and-out. The Falcons threatened to tie the game, turned it over on downs at the Plainfield 4. The, the Quakers then drove 96 yards, capped off by a 10-yard pass from junior Bryce Monk to senior Mason Beers for his first career touchdown with 7:23 remaining in the second quarter. That made it 14-0. Finally, after another Perry Meridian punt, Plainfield took a commanding 21-0 lead on a 10-yard touchdown rush by Starnes, his ninth of the season, with 3:16 remaining in the quarter. That was followed by another turnover on downs for the Falcons at the red zone, this time at the 12. The Quakers followed that with a turnover on downs of their own at their own 45. Then, after Perry Meridian advanced to the 33, Shock threw a second interception, this time to sophomore Ty White, his second of the season and seventh of his career, and Plainfield ran out the remainder of the first half. The Quakers then got the ball to start the second half and committed red zone turnovers on downs on their two third quarter possessions at the 19 and 16. But with 9:40 remaining in the fourth quarter, Sabank threw a 15-yard touchdown pass to sophomore Austin Ward, his second of the season, virtually clinching it for Plainfield, now with a 28-0 lead. Perry Meridian finally scored with 8:21 remaining on a 22-yard touchdown pass from Shock to senior Colton Barker. The extra point attempt was blocked, making the score 28-6. But after a failed onside kick, Plainfield quickly scored again with 7:25 remaining. This time from the 60. This time on a 60-yard rush from junior wide receiver Xander Natam on a trick play, making the score 35-6. Finally, with 150 remaining, the Quakers scored their first defensive touchdown of the season on a 42-yard interception return by senior Blake Larison after junior Ethan Edwards hit all five of his extra point attempts. This time, Plainfield attempted a two-point conversion, which failed. As that touchdown gave the Quakers a 35-point lead, the remainder of the game was played with a running. Other than a high number of penalties and the three turnovers on downs, Plainfield played very well overall on both sides of the ball. Sabank passed for a career high 275 yards, completing passes to seven different receivers for the third time in 4 games this season, and completed passes to six receivers in the other game. Tom had 7 receptions for the third time in 4 games this season and had 9 in the other game. After 4 receiving touchdowns last week, he scored his first rushing touchdown in this game. After being relatively contained the week before, going 20 for 90 on rushing and 5 for 46 on receiving, Starnes had another monster game, going 26 for 189 and three for 60 on receiving, respectively, giving him 249 all-purpose yards. He now has 3,174 career rushing yards, exactly 500 behind Zane Fakes for the all-time school record. On defense, Plainfield got 3 interceptions after only 1 in their first 3 games and got 2 sacks, bringing their season total to 12. Tonight, Plainfield has an excellent chance at its third consecutive 5-0 start as they host the Greenwood Woodmen, who entered the game at 1-3. After opening the season with a 38-8 win over Seymour, Greenwood has lost its three subsequent games, all by 3 touchdowns. 29-10 to Indian Creek, 38-20 to Martinsville, and 43-21 to Mooresville. Now, so far this season, Plainfield has rushed 144 times and passed 124 times, a ratio of 1.2 to 1. Junior quarterback Bryce Sabonk, after being mostly a game manager last season, has emerged as one of the best quarterbacks in Central Indiana. He's completed 79 of 124 passes, 63.7% for 877 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. His large receiving arsenal is led by the team's most pleasant surprise, junior Xander Natam, who has 30 receptions for 364 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's followed by senior superstar running back Luke Starnes with 10 receptions for 152 yards and 1 touchdown. Sophomore Cohen Vanderbush with 10 receptions for 150 yards. Sophomore Austin Ward with 9 for 82 and 2 touchdowns. And senior Mason Beers with 8 for 68 and 1 touchdown. On the ground, the Quakers are led by aforementioned senior Luke Starnes, who has 104 rushes for 650 yards and 8 touchdowns. Quarterback Bryce Sabonk has 19 rushes for 88 yards and 1 touchdown. Meanwhile, Greenwood has rushed 165 times and passed 49 times, a ratio of 3.4 to 1. And at that, we will pause for the national anthem. Just a moment. Well, thank you to the Plainfield Marching Quakers for that lovely rendition of the national anthem. And I'm going to grab the pizza real quick and grab myself a few slices, and then I'll get back to my game notes and finish the game preview. So just bear with me for a few seconds. Oh gosh, only 2 slices of the pepperoni left, so they are both mine now. And yeah, it's the other 2 pizzas are like veggie and stuff that I don't eat. So anyway, at least I got something. But my son and I will probably head over to McDonald's after the game. You can actually see the golden arches here from the press box at I'm sorry, at Red Pride Stadium. So anyway, we usually go there after the game and for a snack or maybe a full dinner. And Their lobby's open, I think, till 11. So yeah, I don't think it's ever been closed when we got there after the game. So anyway, um, okay, now for getting back to the preview here. Greenwood this season has completed. I'm sorry, that Greenwood has rushed 165 times and passed 49, a ratio of 2.4 to 1. They started the season with senior Aiden Houseman at quarterback. He completed 13 of 24 passes for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, as well as 2 interceptions. He's been replaced the last 2 games by sophomore Brady Smith, who's completed 11 of 22 passes for 116 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. The Woodman's leading receiver by far is junior Benjamin Hommel, who has 11 receptions for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. No other Greenwood player has more than 31 receiving yards. As has usually been the case in recent years, Greenwood gains most of its yards on the ground. They're led by senior gunner Rupert, who has 100 rushes for 510 yards and 5 touchdowns, followed by sophomore Leland Morton with 39 rushes for 244 yards and 1 touchdown. Head coach for Plainfield is Tyler Bless, who's 19-6 in his third season with the Quakers. Head coach for Greenwood is Justin Bozer, who's 11-17 in his third season with the Woodmen and 25-55 in his eighth season overall. He previously went 14-38 in 5 seasons as head coach at Clarksville in Southern Indiana. Well, at this time, we'll take a short break for a few words from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with the opening kickoff. Plainfield Greenwood coming at you live under the Friday night lights. Next. Broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them, and we hope you will support them. They are Bridget Frog, New Wave Solutions, Yanel Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P, Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones of the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Here at Plainfield, we're just a few minutes away from kicking off. We've got the captains now on the playing field, I guess you call it the coat of arms there in the middle of the field, doing the pregame, the pregame handshake and coin toss here. And I'll tell you, my son and I arrived just about an hour before kickoff. And I'll tell you, I have never felt so good to have such a hard time finding a parking spot at any point in my life. Um, I believe this is the first time I've ever commentated here at Plainfield where I didn't park in the front row. I always have this thing where I have this complex where I feel a lot better if I can see my car from the press box. So I typically park in the front row, um, in the front row of the parking lot here. But I had to park, several rows back because there's so many people here tonight. This is homecoming, and that combined with this being one of the best Quaker teams ever really brought out a huge crowd tonight, as well as helped by the weather. 82 degrees now under a partly cloudy sky. And I think we have 4,000 people here, maybe more. We got about 200 Greenwood fans across the field in the visiting bleachers, but here on the here in the home bleachers, it's nearly 100% full. I barely see any metal to sit on, and then there's literally hundreds of fans in the standing room as well. So it is so great that this community is so psyched about this team, and we got so many People coming back for homecoming too. What a great combination of events to produce this. Presumably one of the biggest crowds in school history. So now Plainfield opening the game with a kickoff, and it goes out. It's a bad kick, goes out of bounds. Ethan Edwards, the junior kicker, got his first career touchback last week, but I think that just came off of his foot, not the way he wanted to. So the Woodmen will start in good field position, and they will take it. They have had a hard time putting up points this year. The Woodmen, the last couple of years 2 and 3 under head coach Justin Bozer, have sort of returned to the heavy rushing attack that they were known for under his predecessor, Mike Campbell, head coach the previous 17 years. After, Bozer instated a heavily passing offense his first year. Now one receiver to each side for the first offensive play, two running backs. Brady Smith, the quarterback, a handoff, and he's up the middle for maybe one. That was Gunnar Rupert there. So no gain there for Gunnar Rupert on the first play from scrimmage of the game. He is a senior, averaging a little over 5 yards a carry. Also has 5 touchdowns. Should be playing college ball a year from now. Now two receivers to the left, one to the right. Smith in shotgun. Takes it to the low snap, but he gets it. And he's pressured, gets rid of it, and throws it up the middle into double coverage. And we got a flag. We got a flag. I think it's going to be pass interference against the Quakers. Parker Jarbo, the intended receiver there, he was in double coverage, but he had a chance at it. It was a well thrown ball, and it is pass interference on Plainfield, bringing it up to the 50. First and 10 Greenwood at the, well, they're moving it actually into Quaker territory at the 49. So two receivers to the left, one to the right, one running back now. Smith's the quarterback. And now we got play whistle dead before the snap. Offside Plainfield, so back to back Plainfield Quakers, and the Woodmen get 20 free yards here, moving them to the 44. One of the few blotches on Plainfield last week was too many penalties, and certainly they're not to a good start with that tonight. Now a pass downfield, um, up the middle is incomplete. Rupert, the intended receiver. It'll bring up 2nd and 5 at the 44 for the Woodmen. Plainfield entering at 4-0. Greenwood at 1-3 on a 3-game losing streak. In addition, Plainfield has won the last 9 in the series with the Woodmen. This is the 72nd meeting between these two schools. Plainfield has a little over a 2-1 edge, 48-23. Greenfield's last win was 10 years ago, 41-23. That was a very fateful game for the Quakers, as I'll explain later on. So now two receivers to the left, two running backs. Smith in shotgun. Takes a snap, gives the handoff there to Leland Morton, and he gets up close to the first down. Let's see where they give him. Let's see where they give him the spot. 2 yards for Morton, bringing up 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3 at the Plainfield 42. 10:31 to go here in the first quarter. No score. Game 5 of 9 in the regular season, the midway point. And now Greenwood takes its first time out very early in the game after only a minute and 34 seconds. But I think head coach Justin Bozer is thinking, they're on a 3-game losing streak. They've got their sophomore backup quarterback in there. They're up against they're up against the number 3 team in a higher class. I think they want to make sure they convert this first down here and get some points rather than giving Plainfield a chance to get the ball with a chance to take the lead right off the bat. Well, thanks as always to the gracious Plainfield staff for the pizza they provide to us media folk. One of the nice fringe benefits of being Plainfield's commentators. Of course, I do it without the pizza. I love what I do. Nobody loves his job more than I love being a football commentator. So it's just a great honor to be here. So now hand off there to Morton again. He gets close to the first, but he's going to be, I think, a yard short. Leland Morton, the promising sophomore for the Woodmen, gets 2 there. He's the team's second leading receiver on the season. So 4th and 1 now at the 40. Looks like the Woodmen are going to go for it. So they line up one receiver to each side, one running back. Smith in shotgun, takes it, handoff there, plows forward. I think he does have it, and maybe one more. That was Rupert, by the way. He picks it too. Oh, Greenwood now has it 1st and 10 at the Plainfield 39. First offensive possession of the game for either team. This is homecoming for Plainfield against an absolutely mammoth-sized crowd. Probably the biggest I've ever seen in my 14 years commentating Plainfield football. So now one receiver at each side now. 2 running backs now. Takes the handoff there, and we got him for a sack. Yeah, that's number 1 on the game, number 13 on the season for Plainfield. And we got Smith for they're going to give him a -5 there. So 2nd and 15 now for Greenwood. 7:08 your time of day. We will be at the exact midpoint of the regular season at halftime. 4.5 games played out of 9. So now Greenwood, the most aggressive formation we've seen tonight. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, empty backfields. This is often a play that's used for quarterback keepers, but we'll see. So now Smith, and we nearly got him, and he gets rid of it. That could be intentional grounding. I think they're going to say he was in the vicinity of Jackson Davis, a sophomore, and I think that's probably the right call. Nevertheless, um, first pass of the game for Smith goes for an incompletion. Excuse me, second pass. So Smith 0 for 2 now to start off. He's played fairly well for a sophomore under these circumstances. Now 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 1 running back. Smith in shotgun. Takes it, drops back. He's under pressure, and he gets rid of it again. But it's going to be for a huge loss, and he should have just dropped it. Benjamin Hommel, who is a junior, by far the leading receiver on this team, could have, he made the catch, but he should have just dropped it because as it is now, that's -3. So 4th and 18. So this time the Woodman will punt, barring an unlikely fake. They're now back at the Plainfield 47. Ty White back deep to receive for the Quakers, and it's nearly blocked. White takes it on the no, it takes a huge Greenwood bounce inside the 10, and oh no, he touched it. He touched it, and the mistake by that very promising budding superstar, but one of his teammates jumped on it. Callahan Callahan, to Sean Callahan, who had an interception last week, did save the day for us. We take over at the Greenwood 6. So great alertness there by Callahan. The Quakers scored on a 96-yard drive last week against Perry Meridian. This would be a 94. So two receivers to the left, one to the right. Luke Starnes, the running back. Bryce Sabonk, Bryce Sabonk in shotgun. Hands off to Starnes up the middle now over left, and he gets about 5 or 6. It's ironic. Bryce Sabonk. Last year we had a senior named Brady Sabonk, presumably Bryce's older brother, and now um, in this game, Greenwood has a quarterback named Brady Smith, so I combined the names there. So 4 yards by Smith, bringing up 2nd and 6 at the 10. By Starnes, excuse me. Starnes gets it again. Goes left, goes right, now center, and he gets about 3 or 4. Starnes over 3,000 career yards into this game, and even 500 behind behind the career lead here at Plainfield. He's 2 for 7 to start off tonight, so 493 yards to go. We will be watching intently over these next few weeks. As barring injury, he should break the record with no problem. So two receivers each side now, and now screen pass complete over to Mason Beers. He's got the first down and more down the left side, spins around, knocked out of bounds around the 22. Beers, a senior who's paid his dues, finally got his first career touchdown last week. That's a bonk through for a career high 275 yards. That's 9 there. Three receivers now to the left, one to the right. Starnes, the running back. Sabonk there in shotgun. A little over halfway into the first quarter here. Sabonk drops back, throws, and it's a little too far to the left. He was going, I believe, for Vanderbush. Yes, for Vanderbush. Cohen Vanderbush, the third Vanderbush wide receiver to bless this program, following older brothers Kale, now at Indiana State, formerly at Iowa, and Caden, now at Eastern Michigan. And now we got a flag before the snap here, 5:47 to go. Offsides against Greenwood, so 2nd and 10 becomes 2nd and 5. So first penalty against Greenwood after there were 2 against Greenwood, after 2 against Plainfield on Greenwood's first possession. So now we got 3 receivers lined up to the left, one to the right. Starnes, the running back. Sabonk in shotgun. Hands off to Starnes. He gets up, goes left, then back to the right, then goes left again. He shifts a lot, and he gets close to the first down. He's he's a lot of fun to watch. Great privilege to accommodate that young man. I'm sure a lot of colleges, vying for his services. 3rd and 1 now after 4 for Starnes. He's 3 for 11 to start off the game. Now hand off there to Starnes again. Goes over left. He's got the first down mark. Past 35, past the 40, past the 45, about 15 yards for Luke Starnes. By far his longest gain of the evening. It went longer than the first 3 combined. He does have 15, so 4 for 26. Not quite 7 minutes into this game, and we've got an injury. Sorry to see that. I cannot tell who it is from my vantage point because, he is moving, and that's always the first thing I look for when somebody's down. Okay, it's a Greenwood player. I can see that much. He's being attended to by personnel here. Hopefully, he will be okay. But I'll tell you, it's just really, coming into this game, I've been thinking about this rivalry. Greenwood and Plainfield are 2 of the only 3 lifelong members of the Mid-State Conference, Mooresville being the other. And, Greenwood has given us a lot of trouble in the past. In recent years, we've dominated the series, winning the last 9. We did have a 3-point win Um, 4 years ago, um, when Greenwood, had a quarterback change during the game that we really struggled to adapt to. Hold that thought. The Quakers first and 10 at their own 46. This was their first possession of the game. Greenwood punted on their first possession after 2 first downs. So now Sabank drops back. He's got plenty of time, throws up the middle, and it's caught, dropped. It was Austin Ward was the intended receiver. He had both hands on it, just did not get the grip. Ward, nevertheless, a very promising sophomore with um, with 2 touchdowns already through the first 4 games. Second and 10 now for the Quakers at the 46. Probably in 4 down territory by their standards. Three receivers to the right, one to the left. Starnes, the running back. Now a screen pass over to Natam, and he's brought down after a gain of about 2 or 3. That might be scored as a rush. It was very close. I think it went very slightly forward, so I will score it as a pass. It goes for 3 yards, bringing up third and 7 at the Plainfield 49. Xander Natam, a junior who's exploded this season, the most pleasant surprise on the team for me, and who graciously informed me last week of the correct pronunciation of his last name. So 2 receivers to each side now. And Sabank now throws deep down the left side. He's got a man open, and it is caught inside the 30. He's whipped inside the 20, 15, 10, 5 touchdown, 51-yard touchdown pass to Xander Natam. So that is Xander Natam's 7th touchdown of the season, 6 rushing. All right. He had 4 receiving touchdowns 2 weeks ago at Mooresville, a 60-yard rushing touchdown on a trick play last year, and now a 51-yard touchdown reception tonight. And the Quakers strike first blood with 4:01 to go here in the first quarter. No, I was talking to this player told me the correct pronunciation of his name. So now Ethan Edwards going for the extra point. It is up, and it is good. So just under an eighth of the way into this game, your Plainfield Quakers open up a 7-0 lead over the Greenwood Woodmen here on Audio Sports on AudioSportsOnline.com. Man, it's I'll tell you, this team is special. They were good at the start of the season. They're on the verge of being great. Um, can they get past Cathedral and/or New Palestine in the sectional? That's the big question. My only answer is I do not know. But I'm not going to put any limits on these kids. And if they keep on improving the way they have through the season, if they play every game, and if they practice and work out to the best of their ability, I give them a shot to do it. I'm so proud of these kids. And I'm just so honored to be their commentator. These kids are special. So now and now a deep kick goes down to the 10 and brought up to about the 20, 28 or so. So the Woodmen trailing 7-0 start their second possession. They punted after 2 first downs on their first possession. Greenwood has, struggled a lot on defense in recent years. They are the smallest school. They have the smallest student population in the Mid-State Conference. They're a 4A team playing really, you know, a lot of 5A and 6A teams. So now one receiver each side, and now a fake here and it gets to about 3 yards around the right side. That was Rupert again. They only give him credit for two. So Greenwood's two rushers, their two leading rushers, Gunnar Rupert and Leland Morton, have been well contained so far. 2nd and 8 at the 31 for the Woodmen. 3:21 to go here um, in the first quarter. First quarter homecoming night at Plainfield. Quakers number 3 in the state in the AP poll in Class 5A. And now fakes the handoff, and Smith takes it himself. He's got a few yards there on the left side. So Brady Smith there picking up about 3. Only give him credit for 2. So a very big 3rd and 6 for Greenwood here with 2:49 to go here in the first quarter. Down 7-0. Plainfield scored easily in the first drive. The Woodmen don't want to go down two touchdowns this early in the game. That would be very hard for them to come back from with not a real good defense and with their offense led by their sophomore quarterback. So 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left here, and now fix the handoff, throws up the middle. He tried to hit Hommel, but it was deflected to the ground, incomplete. So Smith has only completed 1 of his first 4 passes, and it went for -3 to Hommel. So 4th and 5, and it looks like the Woodmen are going to punt. Ty White back deep to receive for the Quakers. He has a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown this season. That was 2 weeks ago against Mooresville. That really kept us in the game through a shaky first half before we broke the game open in the third quarter. It's a weak punt. Bounces around the Plainfield. The Plainfield 40 goes out of bounds. So that's going to be about a 26, 27-yard punt there for the Woodmen. And I just got a notification that there's a Tyler Bless Instagram post. It says news story, red on red on red. So I will be sure to check that out after the game. And I hope you all will too. 1st and 10 for the Quakers, starting off their second drive at their own 39 with a 7-0 lead, 2:19 to go here in the first quarter at Plainfield. Sabank drops back, got plenty of time, throws deep downfield up the middle, but it is a little bit overthrown. And they were triple teaming the Tom too, but it's still a well thrown ball, just a little too hard. Sabank 3 for 6 to start off the game with 63 yards and a touchdown, going 54 yards to Natom. 51 yards to Natom, excuse me. So now Natom and Ward lining up to the left. And then we've got Devin D'Amato and Mason Beers to the right. Luke Starnes, the running back. 2nd and 10 for the Quakers at their own 39. The snap. Hand off to Starnes. He's got a hole up the middle. Back to 45, 50, 45, room on the right side, 40, 35, 30, 25, down around the 15. So Luke Starnes, a gain of about 46 yards there, his longest of the evening. And the Quakers get into the red zone again. 47 yards there for Starnes. I have him 5 for 73 now. So now, hand off to Starnes again. Why not? Gets inside the 10, after the 5, and he's in for the touchdown. Yes, yes. Luke Starnes, number 1 on the game, number 10 on the season, and we're only not even halfway through the regular season yet. So Starnes, he's playing like he wants to become the school's all-time leading rusher in a week or two. And who knows? Who knows? I don't rule it out. So 2 touchdowns from the Quakers, 2 minutes and 10 seconds apart. Edwards on the extra point is up, and it is good. So with 1:51 to go here in the second quarter, Your Plainfield Quakers already taking firm control of this game. They lead Greenwood 14-0 here on audiosportsonline.com. I'm Steve McAtee. Um, Proud and honored to be part of this program to be bringing these exciting games to you, to Plainfield fans, parents, grandparents, girlfriends, um, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends of these players, all around the world. For whatever reason, you can't be here tonight. I take very seriously the responsibility of being a bridge between you and your loved ones, um, or your alma mater, or whatever connection you have to these kids or this program. I hope I do these exciting games justice. So Plainfield now leading 14-0. Edwards already kicking off for the third time tonight, 7:26 your time of day. It's another deep kick. This might be a second touchback. Not quite. It gets up to about the 5, right up to the 10, 15, 20, 25. That was Morton there on the return. So Greenwood now already um, with a lot of urgency on offense, trailing 14-0 after beating Seymour back in week 1, 38-8. They've lost their 3 subsequent games, all by 3 touchdown margins, including last week, their home opener. Yes, they played their first 3 games on the road: Seymour, Indian Creek, and Martinsville. So now 2 receivers to the right, to the left, one to the right. Handoff up the middle. He's got about 3 or 4. That was Rupert, Gunner Rupert. We've contained him so far. I have him 4 for 8. 2nd and 7 now at the 27 for Greenwood. And now we've got a flag before the play, and Liam sees something up in the sky and asked if it's a drone. It could be. I am not sure. So Plainfield with its third, I believe they do. So Plainfield with its third penalty here of the first quarter. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. And now handoff there to I believe that was Rupert again. So he's got the first down. 1:11 to go here. So they give him credit for 3. So Greenwood gets a much needed first down, 1:05 to go here in the first quarter, already trailing 14-0. The Woodmen, a 4A team. They typically finish in the bottom half of the Mid-State Conference. Now, incomplete pass. The timing was off. I think there was some miscommunication. Parker Chance was the intended receiver for the Woodmen. Smith, off to a rough start, only completed 1 of 5 passes, and the completion was for -3. He was trying to avoid a sack, and Hummel should have just batted it to the ground. So now, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Rupert to the running back. The snap gives it to Rupert, and he's better on the line of scrimmage, and I don't think he got anything. I apologize. That was there's a flag here. Hold on. Okay, it's a personal foul. Never mind. So already 4. The only blotch against Plainfield in this game, 4 penalties here in the first quarter. That would put them on pace to get 16 in the game. And another flag. Oh no. unsportsmanlike conduct. So apparently somebody said something that the official didn't like. I try not to be too judgmental on on unsportsmanlike conduct penalties because they are often very subjective. Um, they're often very subjective, unless I just see or hear something absolutely outrageous. So now 30 free yards for the Quakers, 5 penalties already against Plainfield here in the first quarter. That would put them on pace for 20 for the game. This is a game they can probably win with 20 penalties, but obviously, there are games where that will absolutely kill you. So it's something we got to get under control. So now 2 receivers to the left, one to the right, and off there to I believe that's Breedy, 22, excuse me, Anthony Scaramazzo. So that's Scaramazzo's first. And that will be the end of the quarter. So your Plainfield Quakers, other than 5 penalties, a nearly flawless performance so far. They lead the Greenwood Woodmen on homecoming night here at Plainfield. 14-0. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football was brought to you by Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Canal Financial, Phone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Fresh Point Real Estate, Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Sell with Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Record Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barber Shop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the second quarter here with your Plainfield Quakers, despite 5 penalties in the first quarter, having jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Uh, Greenwood now has the ball. 2nd and 10 at their own 35, starting their third possession of the game. I'm sorry, at the Plainfield 35, and now throws deep into the end zone, and they were going for Hommel. It is incomplete. So Smith has only completed one of his first 6. Hommel is by far the team's leading receiver. In fact, the only Woodman who has more than 31 yards receiving coming into tonight. 11:54 now to go in the second quarter. Plainfield leading 14-0. So the Woodmen, after 2 consecutive, after a personal foul followed by an unsportsmanlike conduct, they get 30 free yards out to the Plainfield 35. But so far, they have gained 0 yards on the 2 subsequent plays. 2 receivers now to the left, 1 running back. Brady Smith, the backup quarterback in the game now, hands off, and he's got a gain there of about 7, but it's going to be several yards short of the first. That was Rupert's longest gain of the evening by far. I think he got 6 or 7 there. Yes, 7, bringing him up to 6 for 18 by my count on the game. Obviously, the Woodmen in four down territory at the Plainfield 28, 4th and 3. Very critical 4th down conversion coming up. Very critical 4th down coming up. If they do not convert this, Plainfield will have the chance to take what would be a nearly insurmountable 3 touchdown lead. So now 2 receivers to each side now, and we got a whistle there. I believe Greenwood. Yes, Greenwood has just taken a second timeout. They took their first when they had it on their first possession. I believe they had it at the 35, and it was 4th and short, and they failed to convert there. And if they fail to convert here, they're probably in trouble because so far Greenwood has not shown that they can contain Plainfield at all. The 2 quicker scores: a 51-yard touchdown pass from Bryce Tabonk to Xander Natam, followed by a 14-yard rush by Luke Starnes that was set up by a 47-yard rush on the previous play by Starnes. 11:08 to go now in the second quarter. Plainfield looks like they're likely to give their fans a homecoming victory tonight, and I'll tell you, you know, I'm glad that Greenwood is our homecoming opponent during the even season during the odd number of years because it does, maximize the chance we're going to get get a win on homecoming. So now two receivers from the right, one to the left, one. No, I'm sorry. Now, hands off there to Rupert. He plows his way forward. It's going to be very close, maybe measurement close, and he's short. He's short. So yeah, he's 1 yard short. So the Quakers have held Rupert to 7 for 20 so far. The Quakers take over at their own 26. On their last possession, they drove on 94 yards after a punt. Two receivers to each side, a very aggressive formation. Starts the running back. The Bunk's got plenty of time, drops it back. And now one defender nearly gets him. Now he throws it, and he's got a completion there. The Vanderbilt makes a tackle outside the 40. He's got the first down. So that's going to be about 17 yards there. There is a flag, so let's see what that's all about. So holding against Plainfield is coming back. Sabanka had lots of time. Then a defender nearly got to him. He got rid of it, and Vanderbush made the catch, but it's coming back. So 6 penalties in the first 13:07 of the game for the Quakers. That is something Coach Bless will not like, but that's nearly the only thing not to like, other than the near disaster on that punt. Well, we got to remember some of the, some of these things could kill us against Decatur Central a week from tonight, and more tragically um, against against Cathedral or New Palestine in the playoffs. So they give it to Starnes, and they brought him down for 4 this time. So -4 there by Starnes. His first loss of the game. That brings him down to 7 for 84. But this time there's an offsides against Greenwood. So 2nd and 19 becomes 2nd and 14. 3 receivers to the right, one to the left. Starnes the running back. Screen pass over to Natom. And he breaks tackles the 30, steps out around the 35. See where they mark him. It's going to be close to the first down. It'll be 3rd and short. So they give him credit for 13. Sabanka and Tom already connected for a 51-yard touchdown tonight. Now he's got the, and he could go all the way. Yes, one man to beat 35, 25, 20, 15. Yes, Luke Starnes, 65 yards, score the touchdown. All right. Number 2 on the game, number 11 on the season for Starnes, and the Quakers take a 20-0 lead. Wow. So Luke Starnes, by my count, um, eight carries, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this could be another running clock game. Last week we pushed the last 150 to a running clock against Perry Meridian. And now Edwards on the extra point, up and good. So Edwards 3 for 3 tonight. So 6 penalties and a near disaster on on a punt. But other than that, it's almost an A-plus performance by your Quakers tonight. We still got rough edges to polish, and I hope we polish them in time for Decatur Central next week, which will be on the road in Southwest Indianapolis. So I'll be talking more about that later in the broadcast. Keep in mind, Greenwood may be the worst team in the maybe the worst team in the conference this year. Usually Greenwood is better than their record. They have the smallest student population in the conference, and if you pay attention over the years, even though they often finish around 3-4 wins, they often do well in the playoffs because they're so toughened by all the higher class teams they play that the playoffs seem easy by comparison. In Mike Campbell's 17 seasons with Greenwood, the Woodmen won at least one playoff game 13 times, got to the semi-state in 2017. And in each of the first 2 years under head coach Justin Bozer, they won two tournament games each season, got to the sectional championship after regular seasons of 4-5 and 2-7. So they still could have another good playoff run this year. And now the Quakers, I'm sorry, now the Woodmen start off after another deep kick returns. This time not quite to the 20. They're not marking it at the 17. Well, last year we got a 28-0 shutout at Greenwood. That was their second shutout in 3 weeks after not having any in 8 years. Maybe we got another shutout tonight. Now screen pass. That was to Hommel. A screen pass to Hommel, but he doesn't get more than a couple. Smith only 2 for 7. He is a sophomore, was not expected to start this year. He's filled in for a senior starter, Aiden Halfman, the last couple of games. Two receivers to the right now. Handoff there, and he's up there for about 3. I believe that was Rupert again. So they gave him 3. So Rupert 8 for 23. So two receivers to the right, two running backs now. Smith in shotgun, trying to find something that works. Some movement, but no call. 12 on the play clock. 4 now, and now it takes the snap. Screen pass over to the right. It is caught, but he's brought down for a loss. He's brought down for a loss. Hommel got it again. So Hommel, all 3 Greenwood receptions and 2 of them for losses. Wow. That one for -2. So by my count, Greenwood -3 yards of passing offense and 28 yards of rushing offense. So 25 net yards from offense. Excellent defensive performance by the Quakers tonight, granted against a team without its starting quarterback. So now another punt up here. It's a high punt. White. It calls for a fair catch. He takes it inside Plainfield territory at the 46. So that's actually, I believe, the best punt for Greenwood tonight. Goes 34 yards. Still, Plainfield takes over in good field position at their own 46. 7:43 to go. We very well could have a running clock for the entire second half. Depends on what the Quakers do with the rest of this half. So now Ward and Beers and Natom all lined up to the right. Starnes, the running back, another receiver to the left. I cannot see his number from my vantage point. So it takes the hand up now. Throws down for Ty White on the left side. The catch inside the 30. All right. All right. 28 yards from Sabunk to White. Ty White does it offense, defense, special teams. He has 2 interceptions this year after 5 last year as a freshman. Already this year has a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown. 28 yards right there. First and 10 Quakers at the Greenwood 26, 7:17 to go and counting. Now fakes the handoff. Sabunk takes it up himself, and he gets about 3 or 4. That's the first rush for Plainfield for anyone other than Starnes. Only gets credit for 2. I thought it was a little more than that. Nevertheless, Plainfield in good shape at 2nd and 8 at their own at excuse me sorry 2nd and 7 at the Greenwood 23. 6:38 to go here in the second quarter. Plainfield leading 21-0. Gives it to Starnes, breaks through, and he gets up to about the 16. So it's going to be 3rd and short now for the Quakers. It's nearly a quarter and a half into this game. So they said he did get the first. Okay. I thought he was a yard short or so. So Starnes, by my count, 9 rushes, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Numbers 10 and 11 on the season, 10 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. So now Natom lines up to the left, 2 receivers to the right. Starnes still in there, ready back now. Natom shifts right, hands off there to Starnes. This time they're ready for him, and they bring him down around the line of scrimmage. Well timed defensive play there by the Woodmen, bringing up 2nd and 10, 5:52 to go. Well, last year, as you might remember, we had about a 1 hour and 10-minute rain delay in the matchup between these two teams down at Greenwood. But, the game was finished that night, and Plainfield did win 28-0 for their 9th victory in a row over Greenwood. It's going for their 10th tonight. So now a handoff there on a trick play to White around the right side. He's inside the 10, knocked out of bounds near the 5. They might give him the first down. So Ty White with his first rush of the game. Ty White is starting to remind me of that old IU great Antoine Randall L, a guy who could just play just about any position. He was an option quarterback at IU. Then I believe he played primarily wide receiver in the NFL. But it's really interesting, and they give White credit for 8 yards there. So he's had a reception for 28 yards and now a rush for 8 yards on this possession. Hold the thought about Antoine Randall L. But anyway, 3rd and 2 at the 8 for the Quakers, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. And now screen pass there thrown to Tom, but he's brought down for a loss. That's going to be 4th down. They were all ready for him. So that's a -3 there. That'll bring up 4th and 5 for the Quakers. Will they go for it? Or this would be a 29-yard field goal. One of their few weaknesses on the season so far has been too many turnovers on downs, despite the 41-6 win last week. They actually had four turnovers on downs. Now they're going for it here. 2 receivers to each side. Starts the running back, makes the handoff, throws over to White. He's got it, and he gets the touchdown. Gets the touchdown. Ty White with the first offensive touchdown of his career. And your Quakers have a 27-0 lead with 4:24 to go here in the second quarter. So Ty White now has scored a touchdown, 1 touchdown on offense and 1 on special teams this season to go along with 2 interceptions. Snap and the extra point by Edwards is up and good, and he's 4 for 4 tonight. So Now Greenwood's going to be trying to not only score but trying to keep us from getting a 35-point lead here in the first half. That would make it a running clock for the second half. So two touchdowns rushing, two passing tonight by Plainfield. Great to see all the balance. So Ty White on that drive, two receptions for 39 yards and a touchdown, in addition to an 8-yard rush. So that's 47 yards of the 53 yards that we gained. That's 47 yards of the 54 that we gained on that possession that we started on that uh, fair catch on the punt at our own 46. Now, Ethan Edwards getting a lot of kickoff practicing tonight. This is already his fifth, and it's only 7:51 your time of day. Deep kick, and it's a touchback. So Edwards getting better. Second touchdown, second touchback of the season. His first was last week, and this was the first, by the way, that went into the end zone without bouncing first. So that was his longest kick of the season, and he's still only a junior, so we got him back another year. God, I am just so proud of these kids. They we all should be. I mean, they've worked so hard, they play so well, and I think they're just going to get better. And we just got to keep focused on the prize. So now, hand off there to I believe that's Rupert, and he's got about four. Rupert's ninth carry of the evening. 4:10 to go in the second quarter. Plainfield 28, Greenwood 0. They give Rupert credit for four, so I've got him 9 for 27 and even three a carry. Liam, do you see the golden arches over there in the distance? No, it'd be over that way. Oh, they're right. Oh yeah. So now, and now we've got he's got a space and he could go all the way for the touchdown, and he will. So much. Oh no, somebody's hurt, but there's a score. Gunnar Rupert finally found a hole, and we've got it looks like a very serious injury though. Oh no. I hope this is not. I don't know I didn't see what happened. I heard a groan. I was focusing on Rupert, but I heard a groan. So apparently somebody took a really, really serious hit. Oh God. I am looking for movement. Oh my God. I hope this is not serious. Um, Finally, Rupert found that hole, and obviously, running with the sense of urgency, took it. Um, and now all the Plainfield Quakers are all kneeling here, and I'm going to try to figure out what happened. Um, oh God, I hope this is not serious. So far, I can barely see the player at all because of all the personnel standing around him now. I will keep you updated. This is my 145th game as a varsity high school football commentator. I've only seen one scary injury in all that time. That was back in the 2013 playoffs, Cathedral against Zionsville down at Arsenal Tech. Zionsville's quarterback, Josh Schenkel, took a hit, and he was motionless on the field for 20 minutes. And the Cathedral, of course, being a Catholic school, ended up all kneeling together in prayer in a very moving moment. No matter what your faith is, just to see that they were, um, thinking about their opponents. And Hinkle, I never found out exactly what his injury was. but he did go on to play college football for Manchester University. So obviously he recovered from. But now we've got a golf cart coming onto the field for the injured player. I can I can barely see his body, so I really don't have any details. I don't know who it is, but oh wow, very very concerning. Oh God, I never want to see anybody get hurt. Um, you know, I remember, I was, a big IndyCar fan for a long time, and I remember after Dan Weldon was killed in the final race of the 2011 season, um, I really had a hard time. I spent that entire off season wondering, am I going to still watch auto racing anymore? Um, the fact that somebody can get killed doing it, anybody, let alone a man who had two children. I believe his sons were 2 years and 6 months at that time, you know. And then finally, the 500 rolled around next week. The Indianapolis 500 rolled around the next year, and I did go, and I went every year until the COVID shut down. But yeah, um, God, that was man, that was scary. I still cannot see the. I can barely see the players. So I did hear some applause here. So maybe somebody who has a better vantage point to see the kids stand up or something. Which I hope he did. Wow. Nevertheless, that was a 76-yard touchdown rush by Gavin Rupert. Much needed break for the Woodman. So let's see. Man, and the lights of the lights of the golf cart are making it hard for me to see also because it's so bright. Now the player getting a well-deserved ovation from these Plainfield fans. Plainfield fans are good sports. They don't want anybody hurt from either side. If there's one lesson that I hope this country has learned, and I pray this country has learned from the last 9 days, is that we all have to wish each other well, whether we're on the same team or the opposite teams, whether we're friends or enemies. And of course, our opponents are not our enemies, except maybe for the 2.5 hours during the game. After the game, we're as President Reagan said, we're all friends and we're all Americans. That's the way we got to see each other. Um, and I'm sorry, I was never able to see that player's number. Wow, what a scare though. And this was the one time when I really wish that I had some kind of video angle so I could have a better idea of what was going on. So now the conversion's been delayed for several minutes now because of the injury. Um, I will go to somebody to see if we can get some kind of update on that poor kid for Greenwood. Hopefully he'll be okay. So now Woodman on the extra point. It is up and it is good. So, so your score now, Plainfield 28, Greenwood 7. The Woodmen now likely to avoid the running clock at least for a while. So finally, after being contained on his first 9 rushes, Gunnar Rupert, after going for 9th for 28, then nearly triples that with his 10th rush, taking it 76 yards for the touchdown. Give that young man a lot of credit. Also, keep in mind he is a senior trying to impress college scouts. Good size at 6'2", 193, and being by far the best offensive player on this team this season. In one of the best conferences in the state, probably one of the top 4 or 5 conferences in the state. I think he'll get some notice. I believe that not counting the 6A dominated conferences, I believe the Mid-State Conference is the best conference in the state. Certainly not as good as the Metropolitan Interscholastic Conference, the Mighty Mick, or the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, but I think we can hold our own with probably just about anybody else in the state. So now the kickoff goes out of bounds. So Plainfield still with a chance to pad that lead before we go into the halftime. 8:02 your time of day. We had about a 10-minute injury delay. Based on the sound of the cheering, it sounded like somebody must have seen the kids stand up. I mean, there were probably 10 people standing between me and him, officials and, you know, Greenwood personnel. Um, but it looked like the cheering sounded not merely support, but sounded like relief. So that was a good sign. But hopefully they'll get some good news about the kid. So anyway, Starnes starting at the 35. He takes it up. He gets about 4 or 5. Starnes already with 2 touchdowns and over 150 yards tonight. Give him 4 on that one. I have him 11 for 160. That would put him only 340 yards behind the all-time lead. Two receivers each side now. And now a screen pass over to Vanderbush's first reception, and he gets about 3 or 4. It's going to be now 3rd and short. Sabank has completed 8 of his first 11 passes. 5 yards there, so it'll be 3rd and 1. Vanderbush the 4th Quaker to catch a pass tonight. In the first 4 games, Sabank completed passes to 7 receivers. He completed passes to 7 receivers 3 times and 6 receivers once. Now Sabank gets the first down and more. Past the 50, past the 45, up to about the 43. That's a gain of about 13 yards for Starnes. So 13 more yards for Starnes. And we're not even to halftime yet. And 2 receivers to each side now. Starnes the running back. 1st and 10 for the Quakers at the Greenwood 43. Now up the middle, and it's just the timing was just off. He was going for to Natam, who already has 7 touchdowns on the season, 6 receiving, 1 rushing. Sabank has completed 8 of 12 now. Absolutely huge crowd tonight. Probably the biggest I've ever seen at a Quakers game. Probably one of the biggest in school history, especially for a regular season game. It's now 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Starnes the running back. Starnes gets it, and he's got a hole, and he could go all the way, and he breaks another tackle, and he gets up to about the 28. He could have 200 yards by the half easily. I have him 13 for 188. I'll make it 189. They gave him 16 on that. So two receivers each side now. And now fix handoff to Stearns, throws deep, and he's got a completion down at the 10. And who was that? That was Natom again. I'm sorry, that was Devin D'Amato. Devin D'Amato, number 9, not number 8. Hard to tell the difference between 9 and 8 with that text font that they use. But nevertheless, D'Amato, the Amato with his first reception of the game. That's for 17 yards. And now, he's got to get rid of it, and he's brought down for a sack. And that's going to be about 7 yards. So one of the few big defensive plays for the Woodmen tonight. And I believe we got a timeout. Plainfield's taken its first timeout here with 124 to go in the quarter, and I think it's going to be a 7-yard loss there by Sabank. So now Sabank has completed passes to 5 different receivers tonight in the first half. I have him 9 for 13 for 141 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, bringing him to 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the season. So -6 there on that sack there on Sabank. Bringing up second and goal at the 16, 124 to go. Quakers still with 2 timeouts. They threatened to take they threatened to make the entire second clock or hold that thought. 2 receivers now to each side. Now fix the handoff. Sabank throws into the end zone for Vanderbush, and he's got it for the touchdown. So Cohen Vanderbush finally his first touchdown. He had 11 receptions on the season before that one, and now that's Sabank's 3rd touchdown of the game, 11th of the season. He's completed 10 of 14 tonight. And Cohen Vanderbush showing that he's a worthy successor to his older brothers, Kale and Caden. So now on the extra point, Edwards is good, making him 5 for 5 tonight. So your score with 120 to go here in the first half. Plainfield 35, Greenwood 7 here on audiosportsonline.com. Well, I have a feeling that the Plainfield Marching Quakers never get tired of playing the school fight song, and uh, and I never get tired of hearing it. But we've got to balance our jubilation right now by remembering we've got tougher opponents ahead. Starting next week, where we'll have by far our toughest opponent of the season so far, Decatur Central. After their 0-2 start, they came back to beat Martinsville 75-6. Yes, 75-6 last week, despite playing with their backup quarterback. Their starter, Bo Polston, 4-year starter, bound for the University of Toledo, having suffered an injury in the first game and has not played since. I certainly wish him a full and speedy recovery. He's a good guy. Decatur Central is lucky to have him. So now a squib kick, and it's fielded at about the 12, right up to the 20. So Greenwood with 1 timeout and 1:15 to go in the first half. They almost have to try something on offense, being down by 28. 8:10 your time of day. Not every win comes this easy. The last 2 years we started off 5-0. Then week 6 Suffered our first loss of the season to Decatur Central. Hopefully, third time will be a charm for us, and we'll get over that hump next week down there in Southwest Indianapolis, where I hope you all will be. Two receivers to the left, now one to the right. Greenwood starting out first and 10 at their own 20. And now handoff there to Rupert following that 76-yard touchdown, gets about 4 there. Sorry, that was Scarmazzo. That was Scarmazzo. They give him 3. Anthony Scarmazzo. Sorry about that. So 2nd and 7 at the 23, 48 seconds to go and counting in the first half. Greenwood trailing 35-7. Plainfield on its way to its third consecutive 5-0 start and a 10th consecutive win over Greenwood. 2 receivers now to the right, 1 to the left. Now he's with Scarmazzo again, and he tripped up after about 3 or 4. Greenwood not showing much urgency. 25 seconds now. Give him credit for 2. Scarmazzo 3 for 5 now. 2 receivers now to the right, 1 to the left. 14 seconds to go and counting. 3rd and 5 for Greenwood. And now handoff there to Scarmazzo again. This time he's got not much of anything. Might give him a yard for forward progress, and that's it. So after one half of play here in Plainfield, a near perfect performance by your Quakers. They lead Greenwood 35-7. We'll be back with the first half recap after these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them, and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Gunnell Financial, Prone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones on the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones Chris Hoskins, Ellis and Associates, BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're at halftime with your Plainfield Quakers on their way to an easy win. They lead the Greenwood Woodmen on homecoming night by a score of 35-7. It's a game in which the Quakers have scored on all 5 possessions. After Greenwood punted on their first possession after 2 first downs, Plainfield got the ball, and then Bryce Sabonk threw 51 yards to Xander Natam for a touchdown, making it 7-0. Then with 1:51 to go in the quarter, Luke Starnes rushed 14 yards for his 10th touchdown of the season. He set up the touchdown with a 47-yard rush on the previous play. Then with 10:07 to go in the second quarter, Starnes scored his 11th touchdown of the season and second of the game on a 65-yard rush. 4:24 to go in the half. Bryce Sabonk threw 11 yards to defensive sensation Tyler White for the first offensive touchdown of his career. Then on Greenwood's ensuing possession, they finally scored on a 76-yard touchdown rush by Gunnar Rupert. Unfortunately, there was a Woodman player who sustained a serious injury on the play. I did not catch his number because of all the people standing between me and him. Hopefully he will be okay. And finally, with 1:24 to go in the half, Bryce Sabonk threw 16 yards to Cohen Vanderbush for his first career touchdown. And Ethan Edwards, after hitting all 5 of his extra points, made the score 35-7. I'll look at the individual statistics first of all for Plainfield. No, this is not Plainwood versus Greenfield. This is Plainfield versus Greenwood. Bryce Sabonk, another great game. He's completed 10 of 14 passes for 153 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's completed passes to 5 different receivers, led, of course, by Xander Nadam with 4 receptions for 64 yards and a touchdown. Ty White has 2 receptions for 39 and a touchdown. Owen Vanderbush, 2 for 21 yards and a touchdown. Devin D'Amato, 1 for 17, and Mason Pierce, 1 for 9. On the ground, Luke Starnes, another outstanding game, 13 rushes for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ty White, one rush for 8 yards, and Bryce Sabank, 2 for -3. Meanwhile, for Greenwood, Brady Smith has completed 3 of 8 passes for -3 yards. Benjamin Hommel has all 3 receptions, obviously for -3 yards. Um, Greenwood only one play to speak much about on offense. Gunnar Rupert has rushed 10 times for 104 yards and a touchdown. 76 of those yards came on his last rush, which obviously was the touchdown. Other than that, Anthony Scaramazzo, 4 receptions for 6 yards. Um, Brady Smith, 2 for -3, and Leland Morton, 1 for 2. So basically, other than the 6 penalties in the first 14 minutes of the game, one of which granted unsportsmanlike conduct, I put that in a separate category. Nevertheless, that's too high. But after that, um, no more penalties. I think there were no more penalties against uh, Plainfield the rest of the half. And the only other blotch is that Greenwood punted on their second possession, um, Ty White um, made the mistake of punching or a rolling punt, and it was nearly recovered by Greenwood before Tashawn Callahan made a diving tackle, showing a lot of hustle and saved that for us. Um, not it's obviously Plainfield would still be in the lead even had Greenwood recovered and gotten a touchdown, but still you don't want to you know you don't want any blunder plays. So Ty White, outstanding player. He's done a lot in his season and a half with us so far. He's, I think, going to do lots more in the next 2.5 years. He's going to be probably a BCS player starting in the autumn or late summer, actually, of 2028. Um, he made a bad play, but he'll shake it off and he'll learn from it. There aren't a lot of sophomores in the country with already 7 interception returns, a punt return touchdown, and a receiving touchdown to their credit. He can do it all three: offense, defense, and special teams. So anyway, Plainfield, you know, I think we'll probably get into a running clock here in the third quarter, and then the game will be over very quickly after that. Um, I have mixed feelings about running clocks. A lot of ways I'd like the game to go all the way through, to give the younger guys more of a chance to get some game action. But at the same time, I like the idea of getting out of here and resting, especially because we have a mammoth of an opponent. I almost said appointment. Well, in a way, it is appointment. In a way, it is an appointment. We do have an appointment to be there next week at 7. So um, we do have a mammoth opponent next week with Decatur Central, who've not only beaten us 16 of the last 18 times, but who've been to the Class 5A state championship the last 2 years, winning last year, the first state championship ever for the Mid-State Conference. And what was I going to say? Um, yeah, and the 2 games that we won in that 18-game stretch, we beat Plainfield. We beat Decatur Central, excuse me, in the 2012 regular season, the first Plainfield game I ever commentated, and then Decatur Central went on a 13-game winning streak against us, including 4 in the playoffs. Then we beat them twice in 2022, both games here at Plainfield. We beat them 34-32 in overtime in the regular season, then 13-10 in the playoffs, the sectional championship game. on a 19-yard touchdown pass from Hunter Newell to Noah Hessing with 1.3 seconds left, causing me to lose both my voice and my mind. Oh God, I went crazy. I mean, I don't know. Just try to imagine the swing of emotions. Maybe a psychologist could explain it better than I could. But I was so prepared for us to lose, and then to suddenly, pull off that sensational play and win. To have that kind of sudden swing of emotion, especially. I mean, if it had been in the regular season, I would have been going crazy. Heck, I did go crazy when we won that regular season game. I shouted, "The beast is out! The beast is out!" Quoting the title character from the movie Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa. That's what he said at the end of his fight with Mason the Line Dixon. Um, but because it was the playoffs, because I thought we were going to lose, because it was Coach Woodard's farewell season, and he was 0-6 in sectional championship games. Yeah, I just was just overjoyed. And then later, when I saw a replay of the game online, and I saw the way those kids on the sideline reacted, I saw their joy. That just added so much to it, to the joy I already felt. Um, that was just a great moment. And wow, 3 years later, it's still, it still hits me. And that was just such a crazy season of my life. My mother died. Uh, what was I think 24 days before that game. Yeah, because she died 3 days before the Martinsville game that year, and I remember commentating at Martinsville that night. And it's ironic because my mother only attended, though she frequently listened to my broadcasts, she only attended two of them, and one of them had been at Martinsville um, 10 years earlier, and then she also went to a game at Greenwood the next year. Um, and wow, that was just such that season was such an emotional roller coaster because my mother, she had a stroke 10 days before the season started, so I went through that whole season at first tracking her. Well, initially appeared it was going to be at least a semi recovery, and then her deterioration, and finally death. And so I just had so many emotions running wild. So I'm sure that probably added to how dramatic that felt. In fact, today would have been my mother's 82nd birthday. She was born September 19th, 1943. Same day as Baseball Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, former Cincinnati Reds great. Um, Also, 10 years to the day after actor David McCallum, who you might remember from a lot of you older people from The Man from Uncle, and then a lot of you younger people from NCIS. And I best remember him from an obscure 1976 horror movie called Dogs, which is it's an obscure favorite of mine. About a pack of dogs that go crazy and you know try to kill people. Unfortunately, do kill a lot of people, but it's a great low budget thriller from 1976. Also stars, well, not stars, but Linda Gray, who went on to play Sue Ellen Ewing on Dallas, has a small part in there as well. Also, George Weiner, another great veteran actor who doesn't get his due respect. Um, but anyway, um, with 8:17 to go here in halftime, I'd like to turn back the clock now a full decade because, you know, this year marks the 10th anniversary. Well, last week and this week specifically marked the 10th anniversary of maybe what I think might be the oddest two-game stretch in the history of Plainfield football from the standpoint of, trying to think how to describe this. I think it might be the oddest two-game stretch in Plainfield football history from the standpoint of a swing of, a swing of emotions and something looking a lot different in retrospect, if that makes sense. And let's go back to week 4, um, 10 years ago. Plainfield visits Roncalli. Um, you know, unfortunately, because Perry Meridian joined the conference in 2018, we had to drop the Roncalli game in week 4. That was a non-conference game. Roncalli, as you probably know, they're a Catholic school. At this time, at that time, they were a 4A team. I think they still are. We were in our first year in 5A. Um, Back when we were both in 4A, they had beaten us 4 times in the Brian Woodard era, 4 times in the playoffs, and usually in the regular season. And in fact, the previous year, 2014, excuse me, we had played them twice. In week 4 of the regular season, they beat us here, Plainfield, 27-3. That was the game in which we had an absolutely decimated offense. We had lost our 2 running backs. We had lost Jacob Maple, who after that outstanding sophomore season in 2013, um, he was injured in the first game of the 2014 season. Then our leading receiver from the season up to that point, John Finch went down with, I think, a broken leg in the first play of the Mooresville game in week 3. It was serious enough that he was still in a wheelchair in week 8 on senior day against Whiteland that year. Um, and then we improved a lot down the stretch. We added Dylan Foster to the team, a running back um, who had played as a sophomore on defense and then decided late to go out for the team the next year. Um, Colin Nicewander, our starting quarterback, started to gel with some of the players, especially a couple of sophomore receivers, Dante Keys and Gavin Ritter. And, we won our first 2 playoff games after a 2-7 regular season. We won our first 2 playoff games against Danville and Northview. And then Roncalli came back here to Plainfield. And after they beat us 27-3, they only beat us after they beat us 27-3 in the regular season. They only beat us 24-17 in the playoffs this time. We had 2 outstanding offensive plays. Roncalli was clearly the better team, but we had a couple of outstanding plays on the first play from scrimmage. A nice wander through to to Dante Keegs, who got under his receiver, took it in. I believe it was 69 yards for the touchdown. Then Nice Wander, who wasn't known as a very good rusher, got a 28-yard keeper for a touchdown in the third quarter to keep us in it. And we took it down to our last possession before turning it over on downs. Then in 2015, I thought as long as we stayed healthy, we'd be a great team. And after a 2-1 start, we went down to Roncalli, which is in South Central Indianapolis. And after they led 10-0 and 17-7, we got back in the game. Dylan Foster got us 2 touchdowns in the game, one from 1 yard and one from 4. And then in the fourth quarter, Nice Wander threw 26 yards to one of our running backs, Dawson Anderson, and gave us the 21-17 win. And I thought at that point, okay, we're set. We've gotten over the hump. We've turned the corner. This is going to be a great season. And it might have been because we were 3-1 at that point. But then the next week, Greenwood comes to town here, and Colin Nicewander, who is having a very good senior season after a very solid junior season, went down with a broken collarbone. And to this day, that is Greenwood's last victory of the series, 41-23. And the reason why I say that would later be looked upon differently in Plainfield football history is because as a result of Nicewander's injury, Plainfield put in at quarterback a promising freshman named Ben Slayton, and he would start the last 4 regular season games, 2 of them wins, and then Nicewander returned for the playoff game, a 30-27 loss to Decatur Central, which I believe was our closest loss to Decatur Central in that 13-game a 13 game losing streak. Um, but basically, when Nice Wander's injury at the time, I think our attitude was that's unfortunate. It probably cost us some games this season, but Ben Slayton, the freshman, having been thrown into the fire as a freshman, that's going to pay off down the road. And indeed, Slayton came in. He had his sophomore season in 2016 is probably the best season of any quarterback in Plainfield history, thanks in part because Dante Keys and Gavin Ritter, who were 3 year starters, were now seniors. Um, and we nearly won the sectional championship that year. We lost the sectional championship game to Zionsville right here, 33-28. Um, and we the last Gavin Ritter was injured on the last drive, and then Ben Slayton on the last play of the game threw it into the end zone. I think it was like 5 seconds. It seemed like longer, but I think it was about 5 seconds before the official um, finally signaled that it was no good. And so we narrowly lost. Basically that game we brought our A game. We brought our A minus games, but Zionsville brought. We brought our A minus game, but Zionsville brought their A game, and that was the difference. Um, and so it was disappointing, but it was. We played a great game. We just lost to a team that was a little better. Um, and then the next season, as a junior, Slayton, his statistics were not as good because he did not have as good a receiving arsenal around him. But we were developing some young receivers, and setting him up for a banner senior season. But then after 6 games, he had his unfortunate off the field incident. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, just go online if you want to know and type in Ben Slayton Indianapolis Star article. There's an article about it. And he ended up transferring to Danville for his senior season, which, even though he would have been eligible to play had he, returned to Plainfield, I just think there would have been too many bad feelings, and I think that would have just, I think it would have been counterproductive, and I think it was good for him to get a fresh start. So he went out to Danville, and you know, he didn't destroy his future, but he did hurt it. He had been recruited by at least 2 Big Ten schools, Purdue and Michigan State. He ended up going to an NAIA school, Marian University. Um, and, which if he had been just another player trying to make it, that would be a good gig. But obviously, you know, he had the potential to do better. I don't know what he's doing now. Hopefully he's doing well. I wish him well. Um, and I just hope that, the incident, that will be used by him and others to make a good out of it, to learn lessons, to teach people, how to avoid getting into situations like that, in the future, and to simply to think about the potential consequences before doing something, especially in this age in which wrongdoings are much harder to cover up. Um, and you know, the unfortunate thing about it is that had the incident not happened, he might be unquestionably universally regarded as the best player in school history. There might be a building or a street here, or something like that named after him. His jersey might be hanging from the rafters. Um, and as it is, he graduated from Danville, after only playing there for 1 year, and he's probably really not going to be very well. He's probably not going to be widely remembered down the road because he only played there 1 year, and it was a good but not great year. And you know, um, he still holds some all-time Plainfield records. And when I look at the Plainfield record books, you know, he belongs there. He earns those records, but at the same time, I hope that 10 years from now, I look at the Plainfield record books and I see, every record held by someone who there's no mixed feelings about, who's unquestionably regarded as one of the heroes of program history. So obviously, looking back 10 years later to the Ron Colley game and the Greenwood game, lots of mixed feelings, but I'm very glad about where Plainfield football is now, and you know, and I think the best days are still to come, and so and I'll tell you, you know, it's. I remember when Kobe Bryant had just played his final game in the NBA back in 2016, with nobody having any idea that he had less than 4 years to live. Talking about how it was unbelievable that his 20-year career went by so quickly. And keep in mind, at that point, that comprised more than half of his life because he had been playing in the league since he was 18. Um, and Kobe, I mean, he's a guy. We can all learn from our mistakes to get better. He's the guy who did make some mistakes early in his career, but I do sincerely believe. I mean, only God knows for sure, but I really believe that after his infamous off the court incident in 2003, I think he did use that to make himself a better person and to redeem himself and to save his marriage. I could be wrong, but he really made a good impression on me as a person in his final years. And you know, so now to start off the second half, I think Greenwood's going to go for an onside kick here. Um, no, they go deep and fielded at about the 5, right up to the 10, 15, 20. It's got a hole, 25, and up to about the 31. Ty White on the return. And if we get 7 points on this possession, um, we got a running clock. By the way, I mentioned that last year Decatur Central became the first mid-state conference mid-state conference team to win a state football championship. Well, it should be noted Plainfield was the first mid-state conference team to make a state championship game in football. That was in the year 2000, and tonight we honored the 25th anniversary of that team. Many of them were here, including um, Brian Woodard, who was an assistant coach on that team. Of course, later served 17 years as head coach after 9 as an assistant. So 2 receivers to the right, one to the left, 2 running backs to start off that for the Quakers. Now a handoff to Starnes. He's tripped up. Doesn't get much. Let's see where they mark him here. So they're marking him for no gain. That doesn't happen much. That doesn't happen much when Starnes carries. He gets it again, and this time he's getting something. He's bouncing around the left side, and he breaks free. He's going to go all the way. Luke Starnes, 68 yards for the touchdown. Oh my God! Oh no, there's a flag. Oh man, will it be coming back? That moves him over 200 yards on the game if it counts, but I don't think it's going to. Oh well, at least I got a good call out of it. Okay, face mask Quakers. It's coming back. Oh, holding. Excuse me, holding. All right. Well, I'll hold up on the running clock for at least a few seconds. I have a Dylan Foster story. Since I mentioned him at halftime, in regard to the 2014 and 2015 seasons. I hope to meet him someday. I've looked for him on social media. I found some pages for him, but it looks like he hasn't posted in years, so I'm not sure how to get in touch with him. But um, of all the players who have commentated over the years in all sports, which is hundreds, if not thousands now, if I had to pick like the top 5 who I'd like to meet, well, hold that thought. So now the Quakers now 3 receivers to the right, one to the left. Starnes gets it again, and he breaks through, and he he gets up for about 15 yards there, so close to the first down. No, that was Corin McGill. Corin McGill. So good to see him getting in the action. He's the one who I think has the best chance to emerge as the. They give him 14 there, I believe. And no, that's a season long. He got a 33-yard touchdown rush against Anderson in the playoffs last year. So 14 there by McGill. So good. Glad to see him getting in on the action tonight. 3rd and 3 now at the 38 for the Quakers to start off the second half. They need 7 points to go to a running clock. So now we got 2 receivers now to the left, one to the right. 2 running backs now. Starnes gets it. He's got room on the right side. He's got the first down. Breaks the tackle past the 45, past the 50. About 13 or 14 there. That puts him over 200 on the game, which brings him within 300 of the all-time school record. It's 15 by Starnes. I have him 15 for 15 yards on that play. I have him 15 rushes for 204 yards and 2 touchdowns, which are number 10 and 11 on the season. 2 receivers to the left now, 1 to the right. 2 running backs now. And screen pass now. It is caught there. I believe that's McGill. He's got room on the left side and breaks the tackle. He's got the first down and more up to about the 40. So, so they're going to give him, it looks like, the, I thought he got to the first down. I thought he got exactly to the 40. Oh, there's illegal motion on the play on the Quakers. I did not see the call. So already two penalties against Plainfield in the first 205. Penalties, the only big blotch on the Quakers in this game. First and 10 now for the first and 10 for the Quakers at their own 45. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Sabak throws deep down the left side. He's got a man open, and he's got it in the Tom, and he's got the touchdown. All right. All right. Vander Natom, number 2 on the game, number 8 on the season. His 7th receiving touchdown of the season, also 1 rushing. 55 yards there. Sabak already goes over 200 yards on the game. And his career high 4th touchdown pass. And we're an extra point away from making this a running clock and getting out of here early tonight. Five receptions, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns by Xander Natom. And the extra point is good, and we got our running clock there. So now the rest of the game likely to be a lot less exciting. Right, you put in running clocks, basically the game gets over, very, very quickly. Um, and it does take away some opportunities for your guys to some of your reserves to get some important game action, but it also reduces the injury. It also reduces the chance for injuries. So the last 2 games here, the only consecutive home games here at Plainfield all year. Last week against Perry Meridian, 41-6. Tonight against Greenwood, 42-7. So the combined score, 83-13. Perry Meridian a 6A team, Greenwood 4A, Plainfield 5A. And I'll tell you, it's great that here's the kick. Now the kickoff brought up to the 20, 25, 30, 35, and he's got a hold there. 45, 50, 45, 40, 35. And that was Leland Morton there trying to get something going for Greenwood. I give him credit for his competitive. I give him credit for his competitive spirit. He is he is a sophomore. He's got a bright future. Um, don't forget Greenwood is the smallest school from a student population standpoint here in the Mid-State Conference. Liam, are we going to McDonald's after the game? Liam said yes, so that settles it. I only got two slices of pizza, so you know I'm still a little bit hungry. Two receivers, one receiver at each side now, one running back, and now he's got some over the right side past the 25. So nearly a first down there. That was that was Rupert. He had the only big play from scrimmage for Greenwood tonight. 76 yards for the touchdown. He gets 9 there. His second longest carry of the evening. Unquestionably the MVP for the Woodmen in this game. So one receiver at each side now. Smith fakes the handoff. He's got some room himself, but some good footwork there, and he gets forward for a little bit. I think he does have the first down. No, that was the little there. Excuse me. I'm not sorry. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Riddle, Drake Riddle. He is a sophomore making his first action there. Gets 2 there. Drake, not Blake, but Drake Little, like Drake University in Iowa, where my stepbrother went. So now Greenwood hands off there to Rupert. He's got a hole up the middle, and he gets about 5 or so, maybe 6. Give him 5 there. 12 for 118 for Rupert. 6:59 to go. We're in a running clock here in the third quarter, so the game should be over in about 20 minutes or so. Your Plainfield Quakers will start 5-0 for the third consecutive season, get their 10th consecutive win over Greenwood. Same formation now. Riddle throws his first pass here, and was it complete? I couldn't tell from my vantage point. Now handoff there, and he's inside the Rupert again. He's got a first down. Gets 4 there. So first and goal at the 9 for the Woodmen, trying to finish this game on a positive note. Now fakes the handoff. No, he gives it to Rupert. I'm sorry. That was a good fake. That was a good fake handoff there. So Rupert gets it again, takes it up for about 4. Second and goal at the 5 now. Makes that second goal at 6. 2 receivers to the right now. Rupert gets it, and he drags his way forward. I think he's in for the touchdown. And he is. So Rupert with both the Greenwood scores tonight, but we're still under a running clock here. For point is good. So Will Thompson good on the extra point, making it 42-14. So Plainfield will probably get maybe two more possessions here. 5-yard touchdown rush by Gunner Rupert. By the way, his first name Gunner. It's the English word, like someone who guns. Gunner. It's not the Swedish spelling that you occasionally see. Gunnar, or which in Swedish is pronounced Gunnar. Um, and that name got a little bit of publicity back in the early '90s with Gunnar Nelson of the band Nelson, which had brief success there in the hairband era. He and his identical twin brother Matthew, sons of legendary Rick Nelson. That was the first time I ever heard of that name. Also, Boomer Esiason, who's of both Swedish and Norwegian descent, as I am, named one of his sons Gunnar with the Swedish spelling. So now, deep kick here, and it is taken around the 5 there, right up to the 10, 15, 20. He's got a hole. 30, 35, 40. That's Ty White there, and I think it's a horse collar tackle. Looked pretty clear to me. So that would add 15 yards if that's in fact what it is. Face mask, yeah. I thought it was a horse collar tackle. Nevertheless, I could tell there was some rough stuff in there. Elsewhere, oh God. So Decatur Central, after scoring 75 points last week against Martinsville, 52 in the first half, 52 in the first half tonight against Mooresville. We better be ready. Oh my God. I'm getting more and more nervous about next week's game. So Quakers take over on offense at the Greenwood 44. And now we've got a rush for about 6 yards over the left side. That's a newcomer there. That is Kayvon Miu, Kayvon Meux. I believe the last name is French. So good to see a newcomer in there. Yeah, they do give him credit for 6. So good to see the starters out of it, or at least some of them. Second and 4 at the 38 for Plainfield. 2 receivers to the left, 2 running backs, including Mew. And now handoff to McGill. He's got through around the right side. I think he's got the first down. He does, and a little more knocked out of bounds, close to the 30. McGill had 14 on his first carry. He's got several there, and they do give him the first. Yeah, that's right. They give him they give him the first down. So I have him 2 for 20 now, under 2 minutes to go in the quarter, under a running clock. So now Mason Beers lines up to the left. He got his first career touchdown last week against Perry Meridian. Another receiver to the right, Mew and McGill in the backfield now. You give that to, I believe that's Mew there, and he gets around for 5 or 6. So Mew No, that was McGill. Excuse me, that was McGill. So McGill picks up 5 there. So he's 3 for 24. So having his best game of the season. Hopefully he'll get some more carries, and I really hope he emerges as our as the supplement. I hope that he emerges as a supplement to Starnes. That I think is going to be one of the keys to us going to the next level this season. So two receivers to the left now, two running backs now. Handoff to Mew. He's got through on the left side, and they're on top of him, and he's brought down around the line of scrimmage. Might even be a loss of 1 yard. It is. He had 6 on his first, -1 on his second. So 3rd and 7 for the Quakers, and that's going to be the end of the quarter. So your Plainfield Quakers under a running clock, 12 minutes away from victory. Your score after 3 quarters here on homecoming night: Plainfield 42, Greenwood 14. We'll be back with a thrilling conclusion after these words from our sponsors on AudioSportsOnline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quaker Sports is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them, and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganal Financials, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Delwith Jones on the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Burbridge, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellison Associates, BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the 4th quarter. With your Plainfield Quakers on their way to an easy victory. We're under a running clock. They lead Greenwood 42-14. And now, handoff there. He's over on the left side. He's got inside the 20. He's got the first down and more. That was McGill. So Corin McGill having a career game here as a senior who's paid his dues. I hope he'll get more rushes as the season goes on. Give him 10 there. It's a very tough competitor there. Give him 11, actually. 1st and 10 at the 19th now. 1st and 10 at the 19, excuse me. McGill 4 for 35 by my count. 11:18 to go and counting. No clock stoppage the rest of the way, except I think on change of possessions. So 3 receivers to the right now. Handoff there, and this time he's up into the 15. McGill again. McGill now. 10:52 to go. Under a running clock. So yeah, to have 2 consecutive running clock games, that shows that you're doing it. You're doing a good job. So now 1 receiver to each side, 2 running backs now. And now, and he's got it for the touchdown. Tavon Mew with his first career touchdown for 13 yards. So great, very exciting for that young man. Tavon Mew, he is a 6-foot senior. So Plainfield has scored touchdowns on all 7 possessions tonight. And the extra point is good. And Edwards now 7 for 7. So it's good to see we've overcome the conversion woes of the first couple of games. So the backup running backs tonight, Corin McGill has 5 rushes for 41 yards. Kayvon Mew 3 for 18 and 3 for 18 and a touchdown. 9:37 to go. The clock will stop for that. I believe I believe. Actually, come to think of it, I think that during the running clock, it only stops for scores. I don't think it stops for change of possession, like if there's a turnover on downs or well, any turnover or a punt. Well, let's see. It is 9:01 your time of day here. So Liam and I are going to get to McDonald's in time to really relax. I see the Golden Arches there in the distance. It's got our name on it tonight. A lot of the fans starting to file out. Deep kick, fielded around the 11, brought up to the 20, 25, and brought down around. No, he's still up. He's pushing his way forward. He gets up to about the 30 now. So I like that Greenwood is still playing hard even under these circumstances, trailing by 35. Wow, great performance tonight. But we better, better use all this rest and have some good, 4 good days of practice because we got Decatur Central a week from tonight, and they are much, much better than Greenwood. So now the pass is deflected. Drake Riddle, a sophomore, having relieved the starter Brady Smith. I have Riddle 0 for 2. He's 5'9", 148, so probably needs a little weight, but still got a couple of more years to develop. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. Now a handoff there, and he's over to the left now up the middle. Scarmazzo now. Anthony Scaramazzo. I think Anthony's a popular Italian first name. Give him 4 on that one. I have him 5 for 9. I actually found out about a year ago. I was surprised I have a little bit of a very distant Italian heritage. I was surprised to find that out. So two receivers to the left, one to the right. A high snap, but he gets it, and now gets it up to. I believe that's Scaramazzo again. Picks up about 6 or 7. No, that was Leland Morton. That was Leland Morton. I believe that's his first carry since the first quarter, and he's the team's second leading receiver on the year. So I'm not sure why we haven't seen him much tonight. It's now 4th and 2 after that 4-yard pickup. The Woodmen going for it, and they I think did get the first down. Yeah, they gave him 3 there. After that 3-yard gain there. And now a pass. It is complete. And he's got a first down there and more, about a 20-yard gain there. That was Jackson Davis. So that's 15 yards there. So now 1st and 10 on a keeper gets maybe 1 or 2. Drake Riddle. Drake Riddle on the keeper there. Looks like they're going to give him no gain there. Second and 10 at the 43, 5:12 to go, and a running clock. Plainfield 49, Greenwood 14. Quakers ranked number 3 in the state in the AP poll for Class 5A. 2 receivers to the right, now 1 to the left. Now a pass. It is complete for a gain of about 5. That's Eli Miller for his first reception. Third string quarterback Drake Riddle having a little bit of success tonight. First and 10 at the 38. Third and 5 at the 38, excuse me. 2 receivers now to the left, 1 to the right. High snap, but he gives it over to Rupert. He gets over for about 2, bringing up 4th and short. I'm sorry, that was Morton. Morton, excuse me. Well, they said he lost 1. So that'll bring up 4th and 6. 3:48 to go. Three receivers to the left, 1 to the right. 1 running back. Riddle in shotgun. Takes it. High snap, but he gets it. And it's the pass is deflected. The pass is deflected. No, they said it's a fumble, and Plainfield's got it. It was 4th down anyway. So the clock continues ticking as the offense comes onto the field. No, they count it as incomplete. I thought it looked to me like a real pass. So 2:52 to go for the Quakers. Probably going to see a lot of reserves, if not all reserves, on this play. Kayvon Mew, who had the touchdown in the last possession, is in there. The senior finally his first career touchdown. Mew gets it again, and he's got about 5 up the middle. He gets 6 there. So 2nd and 4 for Plainfield at their own 45, 2:14 to go. About 3 or 4 more plays, and this one should be over. One receiver each side, 2 running backs there, and McGill gets it, and he, plows his way forward. He's hit a couple of times, bounces off tacklers, and he shows a lot of toughness there. Shows like he wants to get more action in the second half of his senior season. They give him 5 there. I have him 6 for 46. So the ball now at the 50, 129 to go and counting. Plainfield 49, Greenwood 14. We had an absolutely mammoth crowd for homecoming. I think we had 4,000 people here tonight. And now it looks like the Quakers will kneel out the remainder of the clock. And they do. Under a minute to go now. The Quakers just have to kneel out once more. And it looks like they've got Nolan Wright, a freshman, in there at quarterback. But he has not thrown a pass tonight. 39 seconds to go now. And he kneels, and that is it. So your Plainfield Quakers, with the exception of the last of their last possession on which they kneel out the clock. They score on all 7. possessions rolled to a 49-0 win over the Greenwood Woodmen on homecoming. We'll be back with a recap and a look ahead to next week's Super Showdown against the Ecmo Bowl Wired Catered Central Hawks. After these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to welcome them and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganell Financial, Crone Family Construction,